'cause it's my lazy day, just wanna lazy away. Ain't gonna do a thing for the rest of the day. You can try to seduce me, make me wanna play. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Hi everybody, hope you're well. This video is a short video to answer lots of questions that I've had about this, the Ecoflow Wave 2 air conditioning unit. And it's probably the unit I thought I don't really use, don't really want, don't think it'd be good for somebody in Yorkshire using it in their cottage in the camper van. But since having it, I've got a certain different opinion with it. It's been used a lot. We haven't had the best summer, but it's been used a lot in many different ways, not just in the camper van. We've used it here in this cottage, and I've actually used it out in the garden as well. 26 degrees in the garden. Cooled down by Ecoflow Wave 2 air conditioning swing. Ready for me and the Whippets to have a snooze. But there's lots of questions about this, about charging it, running it, and I've tried to answer them through messages on my last video I did about it. But in this video I just want to cover some of the bits and pieces so I can refer people to this and it may answer some of the questions. And it gives a bit of a long-term view of a summer using this unit as an air conditioning unit. And then probably later on in the year we'll give an update of how we've used it as a heater. So when you buy this unit, you get the air conditioning unit, the various pipes and ducting to actually set it up and use it, and to run it off mains power. That's what you get in the box when you just buy the unit. So it will only run off mains power when you buy this unit. Although, I think some of the confusion has come from this diagram that's in the instructions. And the key to this is recharging. So this is when you have the battery. So I think people have got confused and they've seen this diagram, or people have talked about it, and it looks like this socket on here you can plug into your car and you can run the full unit from 12 volts. Well, you can't. And it's not that simple either, because you can just run the fan, but you can't use the heater or the air conditioning unit. So when you plug a cable into there, an Ecoflow 12 volt car charging cable into there, this will switch on and it'll run a fan, but that's all it'll do, it'll not run the heater. When you plug this into your car and into there, if you have your battery on, it charges the battery, and the battery produces enough power to run this as a heater and an air conditioning unit. And I think that's one of the key things where people are getting confused. So as this is using it around a house, or if you have a good power system, mains power system in your camper van, you can use it straight from there and you don't need this battery, but you can't run it off 12 volts. Likewise, this is the same socket Ecoflow used for solar panels, and you can't just run this from solar, you need the battery as well, and it's the same principle. The power goes into this, goes through to this unit, and then the power from this unit runs the air conditioning and the heater system in this. And that's on the same diagram. And the confusion is definitely, you get this with this main unit, but at the top it says for recharging, and the recharging is for the battery, which you buy separately. Now all that said, we've used this mainly from this, and or plugged into another Ecoflow product, which I'll show you in a minute. So around the house, we just plug it into the mains, as you would. And we'd also, in our camper van, we've got that much power in our camper van, we can easily run this through the mains power in our camper van as well. But there is another way, and I think people are not completely aware of this, there's another way to run this from other Ecoflow products. So if you have another Ecoflow product like this is the Delta 2 Max, which has the sockets on the side for expandable batteries, and this lead here, which you use for expanding the batteries of the power unit, fits into the same socket into this unit, and the power from this has enough ampage to run this as aircon and as a heater. So if you have one of these, there's a lot more capacity and you'll get a lot more life running this than the battery you actually buy to fit into the bottom of the unit. Still sort of portable, not as portable as having the linking battery in the bottom, but if you already have this, there's no need to buy the battery and you can run it off this. And everything runs, not just the fan, the aircon and the heating. Hopefully you can hear me over the aircon running, but this is now running the air conditioning unit, so through that link unit, through that link cable. So it's just using about 200 watts of power. So the power and capacity in this is actually a lot bigger than the auxiliary battery you would buy for the Ecoflow Wave 2. So I think the way they've done it like that is you don't have to buy that other battery, because you can run everything off one of these products if you have it. But if you want to make it completely portable and run it up to 6 to 8 hours on full power, it will run off that battery you buy separately. This is the auxiliary battery you get for the Wave 2. And there is only one main connection, and that's this multi-connector here, which, as I've just shown you, is the same lead from a link battery to a power station from Ecoflow. These sockets on here, under this rubber cover, has got USB standard and USB-C. They're only outputs. You can't charge this unit that way. They're only one way. So this is the battery connected onto the bottom of the Ecoflow, and it slides in and that releases it, so you can slide the battery out again, and that connecting lead goes in here to enable the power from this into the actual unit. And that's it set up with the link battery in. And as you would expect, when this is plugged into the mains, it also charges the remote battery as well. So if the power goes off in the mains, the battery will take over. So as we have it set up here, this is the car charging lead into the actual Wave 2, not into the battery because there's no socket for it, and then into the socket there. And this is putting out power into the Ecoflow Wave 2 through this connector to charge the bottom battery. And if you see on the lights on the right here, it's charging. So that's actually charged, that power is going through this into here to charge it. And now this will run as a air conditioning unit or a heater, because it's actually using the power out of the battery that's been topped up by the 12 volt system. We can't hear this because I'm too close to the fan, but there you are, it's on aircon there. We can turn it over to heat, and we can turn the fan up, and that's the battery and the 12 volts for the Eco Delta 2, and that's using on heater at the moment about 100 watts. And the same will happen with solar. So if you plug solar into here, it will take the power through this and charge the battery, and the battery will convert that power into the amps, and to enable that to actually run the unit on heating and aircon. So I suppose the confusion bit is all the bits go into here, not into the battery. And with them going in here, I think people have thought, well, if it plugs in there, it should just run it. But it doesn't. And that other confusion of plugging a car 12 volt light socket in and switching it on, it sounds like it's working, but it's only running on the fan. So can you run it, can you fit it permanently in a camper van or motorhome to give you heat and cold air as and when you need it? You can, but there's some things you've got to consider. So if you're going to run it through one of these leads through another Ecoflow product, that then you fit that into solar or hookup or your 12 volt system, that's probably the best way to do it for long-term usage in a camper van. But if you're not going to do that and you buy the battery, then you're running cables into here to try to do the same configuration with the battery that exists with it. So I think having something like a Delta 2 Max and this type of cable that you can plug in as and when you need it is probably the most efficient way of doing it. Obviously, if you get to a campsite and you've got a hookup, you can use this, or if you have another power supply, you can use this. but you can't run it independently just off 12 volts. The other thing you've got to consider is it's a proper air conditioning unit. So it takes the air in at the front here and it blows the cold air out here. But the two pipes you fit on the back are for the hot air coming out from the condenser and the cold air to cool the fans, and they need to be outside. And you have two ways to do that. You can either put the unit outside and put a cover on here which comes with it and a pipe into your camper van if it's nice dry conditions, or you put this inside. You could put it in a cupboard, fit it into a cupboard, but you would need access to get these pipes out a window or vents on the side of your camper van. And they're the compromises I think you need to consider if you're trying to fit it full time into a camper van. The way we use this is very much as I did in the old video, which I'll put a couple of clips in. And we sit this in between the seats of the camper van or on the kitchen table, and we run two pipes out of here through the connecting piece of sponge that comes with it out the side window, and we plug it in and use it when we want it. When we don't want it, we put it away. And I think that's probably the best way to use this. And what Ecoflow have done is try to make a completely independent portable unit, which I also think is a good idea, because when this first came out and they asked us to review it, I thought we'll never use that. We live in Yorkshire, we get a few hot days and we enjoy them. But it's been really good. Really good in the camper van, really good just outside, and also good in the cottage as well. So having that flexibility, the investment you put into this can be used all over the place. You've just got to get your head around how best to use it and how it's going to work for you in your camper van and in your cottage. Hope you found that interesting, hope you found that useful, and hope everybody I've sent the messages through text collates to what I've shown in this and makes it a bit more clear. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.